I am so happy to have the opportunity to share with you again.
很高兴又能够有机会和大家分享。
Praise the Lord that His grace is sufficient.
感谢主，他的恩典够我们用。
Indeed, His grace is sufficient.
确实，他的恩典够我们用。
I feel it, I experience it, I live in it.
我感受到，我经历到，而且我就在他这样的恩典中活着。
You know how the Lord ties everything together, and His presence is truly with us.
你知道神是如何把所有的这些事情都综合在一起，而且让我们活在他这样的一个同在当中吗？
Even in our Sunday services.
而且在我们的主日的这样的一个聚会中
You know, as I sit here worshiping, I just feel someone is there and saying, somebody go out there and see whether he needs some help. So, you know, this morning, the worship, the word, what Frank said, shared, what Sharon led, all ties into what I want to share. And we did not talk to each other.
你们知道今天早晨 Sharon Lee 的这样的一个敬拜 ，Frank 带领的祷告，他们所分享的神的话语，都跟我今天要和大家分享的都是紧密相连的，尽管我们并没有提前沟通过。
So the Lord truly is here.
所以主真的就在我们当中。
And I praise Him for that.
而且我为此赞美他。
So my favorite topic.
这是我很喜欢讲的话题。
Last time I had the chance to give you an overview on the Song of Songs.
上一次我给大家一个概况，关于雅歌，歌中之歌。
And I find that today the Lord impressed upon me again. I was thinking about sharing on something else.
那我今天呢是想着分享一些其他的，但是我觉得神还是让我继续这个主题。
But the Lord wanted me to share on parts of this Song of Songs, which I feel that He's tying. He's almost like I was actually meditating on the Song of Song, chapter 1 and 2.
我一直在默想雅歌第1章和第2章。
But it seems like He wants an acceleration. The Lord wanted an acceleration in maturity.
但是我觉得神要在我们的成熟度上来要做他加速的工作。
As I was reading only chapter 2, He brought me all the way to chapter 8.
当我读第2章的时候，神就把我一直带到第8章。
And I feel that He wants an acceleration for His church.
因为我感受到神要对他的教会做一个加速的工作。
As I mentioned Song of Songs the last time I talked about, I said this song has only 8 chapters, and it is really, as you learn, as you study it, it is really talking about the heart of God.
雅歌它只有8章，但是当你学习这8章这个章节的时候，你会发现讲的就是神对我们的心意。
And He's really talking about how much He wants us.
他讲到神是多么的渴望能拥有我们。
And how much He wants us to depend on Him.
他多么希望我们能够来依靠他。
And how much He really, really wants to pursue us.
而且他多么想要来追寻我们。
And it is really the holy of holies of the heart of God.
而且这真的就是神圣洁的心，是他的对我们的心意。
I know that among us we recently have experienced a lot of different, you may call difficulty among us.
那我知道在我们当中有些人可能经历一些不容易的事情。
And I thank the Lord that our worship today is talking about the desert.
那我很感恩，我们今天这样的一个敬拜讲到旷野。
And today the Lord actually impressed on me to talk about the desert,
那神也感动我，今天也来谈谈旷野，
which is also called the wilderness.
也就是沙漠。
You know, in the Song of Solomon, chapter 2,
在所罗门之歌第2章
verse 3 to 5,
3到5节，
if you can, for you, those who read Chinese can turn to your Chinese Bible, but we will look at the English together.
我们大家一起看英文的，有中文圣经的可以自己打开来读。
Like an apple tree among the trees of the forest is my lover among the young men. You can read in Chinese.
我的良人在男子中，如同苹果树在树林下。
I delight to sit in his shade, and his fruit is sweet to my taste.
我欢欢喜喜坐在他的荫下，尝他果子的滋味，觉得甘甜。
He has taken me to the banquet hall, and his banner over me is love.
他带我入宴宴所，以爱为旗，在我以上。
Strengthen me with raisins.
求你们给我葡萄干，增补我力；
Refresh me with apples,
给我苹果，畅快我心。
for I am faint with love.
因我思爱成病。
In other words, I'm intoxicated by your love. So that was Psalm chapter 2.
这就是歌中之歌第2章所讲的，因我思爱成病。
You know, the apple tree is like a shade of refreshment that the Lord is. And this song is talking about how He is like the apple tree
在这里就讲到，我们的主就像那棵
that
苹果
refreshes
树，
us,
在他的这个树荫下，我们就
that
能
we
够
can
重新
sit
得力。
and delight in Him,
我们能够坐在他的荫下，欢欢喜喜的因他喜
and
乐，
we can taste of His sweetness,
而且我们能够尝他甜蜜的滋味，
and how He will bring it up to a higher level of His banqueting hall,
而且他能够把我们带到高处，是
and
以爱
how
为
He
旗
can
在我以
banner
上，
over us with His love.
是以爱为旗在我以上。
You know, sometimes for brothers, except for Victor, I know he loves the Song of Songs.
就是对于
He
弟兄
was
们，
asking, "Are you going to talk about the songs again?" Last week, I said, "I don't know yet. I have to pray and ask what the Lord wants me to speak on." And I think the Lord knows your heart, and He wants me to talk about the song.
要知道弟兄们也一样是喜欢雅歌的，像我们当中的 Victor 就很喜欢。
But you know what? It's hard sometimes, I know, for brothers to picture themselves as the bride of Christ.
但是有时候对有一些弟兄，让他们有这样的一个图画，他们是主的心腹这样的一个
But
图画
what
是比
if
较
we
难的。
replace the bride of Christ, that term, with the mature sons of God?
但是如果说把作为主的心腹这样的一个词换成我们是成为神的成熟的
So
儿女，
maybe you will be able to relate that better. But for us women, we have no problem feeling that we are the bride of Christ.
如果把我们换成是神儿女成熟的儿女的角色，这样可能就会容易一些。但是对于姊妹来讲，把我们想象我们是主的心腹是没有什么问题的。
But what the Lord is after is really the mature sons and daughters of His.
但是主所想要的就是在他里边成熟的神的儿女们。
So when you read the songs and start thinking that how the Lord wants to pursue you, as how He desires that you become the mature sons of God, maybe you can relate with it better.
所以当我们在默想这个雅歌的时候，如果我们联想到神如何迫切的想要我们成为他的成熟的儿女们，我们就可能够把我们跟这个经节能够连到一起。
8 chapters of the songs.
雅歌总共有8章，
The first 4, if you look at it, it's almost like this bride or this maiden or this son is not yet mature.
那我们如果看前4章的话，就是这个 新娘或者是这个女子，或者是神的这个儿子，他还没有成熟。
But this immature son or this bride who's not yet mature, although she's still weak, but she's still in pursuit.
尽管这个神的心腹或者是他的新郎，他的儿子还没有成熟，但是他是在一个追寻的道路上。
She understands who her lover is.
他明白他的爱人是谁，
Although she's weak.
尽管他是软弱的。
You know, sometimes we are weak.
要知道，我们有时也是软弱的。
Sometimes our love is weak.
我们的爱也是软弱的。
But you know, the Lord loves us although we are weak, because as long as we are not rebellious. So weakness and rebellion, we have to make a difference.
我们要知道，软弱和叛逆是不同的。尽管我们有时有软弱，但是神也是爱我们，他也知道我们的软弱。
If our heart is always in pursuit of the Lord, yes, sometimes we may feel weak, but we still want to pursue Him.
如果我们的心是来追求神的，尽管有时候我们是软弱的，但是神是知道我们的心。
But you know, the Lord delights in us, although He knows we are weak.
神因我们喜悦，尽管他知道我们有时是软弱的。
But be very careful, don't fall into rebellion.
但要小心，不要落到叛逆的地步。
Because He does not want us to be rebellious, but it's okay if we are weak, because He will strengthen us.
因为他不希望我们是叛逆的，我们软弱是没有关系的，因为他在软弱上会给我们加力量。
Because you know why? His strength is made perfect in our weakness.
因为他的能力就是在我们软弱上得以完全。
And we're going to talk a little bit about weakness today.
那我们今天要谈一谈软弱。
And why I say He brought me all the way to chapter 8?
为什么我说神一直带领我进入到雅歌的第8章呢？
From Psalms chapter 4 onwards, all the way to chapter 8, you can see that this Son of God, or this bride, is maturing and maturing and maturing. And when she comes to chapter 8, she is almost like a fully grown.
我们从雅歌的第4章到第8章， 我们会看到这个基督的心腹，或者说神的儿子，他越来越成熟。
You know, like in chapter 2, she was still sitting under the apple tree.
在第2章，他还是坐在那个苹果树下。
You know, sometimes we are like that.
有时候我们就是像这种样子。
We like to sit under the apple tree.
我们想要坐在那个苹果树下。
So refreshing.
因为那样的让我们得到更新。
Yes, we can eat of His raisin cake and taste of His sweetness of His apple. That's wonderful.
而且我们可以尝它果子的滋味，尝它的这个苹果，真的是何等的美妙。
You know, as you read the Psalms, there is a part when the Lord says, when it describes the Lord as He is like a gazelle, He is like jumping over mountain and the rugged terrains, and He is moving so fast.
当我们读雅歌的时候，我们会看到我们的主，他像羚羊，他穿山越岭而来，他的速度是那样的快。
Yes, sometimes He'll sit with us under the apple tree.
是的，有时候他们会和我们一同坐在苹
He
果树下。
delights in us, He refreshes us.
因为他因我们喜乐，他愿意使我们更新。
But sometimes He'll say, "Come with me."
但有时候他会说来与我同去。
And as He bounces Himself over the mountain and the rugged terrain,
而且当他这个穿山越岭而来的时候，
but we still want to sit under the apple tree.
但我们还是想要坐在那苹果树下。
We still want to, you know, we are reluctant.
因为我们不情愿。
Because the refreshment of the Lord is so good for us. And sometimes we fall into this contentment, which is not no good, but we have to understand the heart of the Lord and to be ready when He says, "Come with me."
那我们还是情愿坐在苹果树下，享受它果子的滋味。当然，这种境况没有什么不好，但是我们要知道，当神穿山越岭而来，让我们起来与他同去的时候，我们要预备好。
Sometimes He really wants us to bounce with Him through the rugged terrains.
因为有时候神也要我们与他一起来穿山越岭，
He wants to partner with us in ministry.
因为他要我们与他同工，
Because that is His nature. He wants to, sometimes bring us to the difficult times.
因为这就是他的一个本性。有时候他也要带我们进入到那困难的境地。
He wants to see us mature, not just always sitting under the apple tree.
他想要看到我们成熟长大起来，而不是总坐在苹果树下，
Not just always tasting of His sweetness.
而不是总是尝他甜蜜的滋味。
Yes, He is sweet, He is good.
当然他是甜蜜的，是美好的。
But just like a mature son needs to grow up,
但是就像一个成熟的儿子需要长大一样，
He wants us to go through the wilderness.
他也想要我们经历这个旷野之
He
旅，
wants us to go through the rugged terrains with Him.
也要我们跟他一同穿山越岭。
Because, go to chapter 8. When you look at chapter 8, starting from verse 5,
我们看第8章第5节。
why I say this is the part that the bride or the son of God become mature.
为什么我说就是作为神的儿子和这个耶稣的心腹，我们要进入到成熟的状态呢？
Because this bride is coming up from the desert.
因为那良人是从旷野而来了，
She has been tested already.
这个心腹已经被试
And the
验过，
Lord notices her.
而且主也注意到他了。
And He says, who is this coming up from the desert?
那靠着良人从旷野上来的是谁呢？
And He says, who is this rising up from the wilderness?
那他说，那从旷野上兴起来的是谁呢？
This bride is not just rising up from the desert and the wilderness, the bride that has been tested, but who is this that is leaning on her beloved?
就说这个从旷野上来的，他不仅是这个成熟的这个心腹，而且呢，他是靠着这个良人而来的。
You know, this is the picture of the mature Son of God.
这个就是一个
This
神的
is
成
the
熟儿子的
perfect
形
picture
象。
of the mature bride.
这个就是一个完美的图画，这样的一个成熟的心腹。
And the Lord remembers, under the apple tree I rouse you.
那主也记得，在苹果树下，我曾叫醒
He
你，
recognizes you.
他认出你
He
来了。
says, yes, you were there with me under the apple tree.
他说：“是的，你曾经和我一同在苹果树
I
下，
was the one who awakened you.
我就是那个叫醒你的那一位。
But now, look at you.
但是看看你现在，
You are coming up from the desert.
你从旷野上来了，
You are coming up from the wilderness.
你从这个旷野上兴起来了，
But yet,
但是
you are still leaning on your beloved.
你还是靠着你的那良人。
You know, that is such a beautiful picture.
你知道这是何等美妙的一个图画。
We are not just the bride in Psalm chapter 2.
我们不单单是在雅歌第2章的这样的一个心腹，
Who is just so content.
就是他是那样的满足。
And as you read the song, there's a part that the Lord wants her to come along.
那我们读雅歌的时候，我们会看到主有呼唤他跟他同
But
去
she
的
was
时候，
not ready.
但是那会儿他还没预备好，
She was not ready.
他还没有预备好。
But by chapter 8,
但是到第
she
8章
was
的时
not
候，
only ready,
他不单预备好了，
she has been tested.
而且已被试验过了，
And she has been found faithful.
而且会发现他是忠
Because
心
the
的那
Lord
一位，
noticed her.
因为神
And
注
said,
意到
who
他。
are you? You are the one who sat with me under the apple tree, but now you are all mature.
而且主注意到他，你是曾经坐在我那苹果树下的，现在你已经完全成熟
You
了，
have been tested.
你已经被试验过了，
And you have risen out of the wilderness.
而且你从旷野上已经兴起来了。
And because of that,
因此，
He is ready to put a seal over your heart.
那神就预备好在你的心上放上印记。
He is ready to put that love of His in your heart.
那神也预备好把爱的印记放在你的心上。
And He is ready to seal your heart with that divine jealousy that is so unrelenting.
而且是把那个忌邪的爱刻在你的心板上。
Because He recognizes you as the mature bride.
因为他认出你是那位成熟的心
He
腹。
says, set me as a seal over your heart.
他说：“把我带在你的心上如印记，
Because I know you have been tested now.
因为我知道你已经被试
You
验
have
过
been
了，
found faithful.
你是那忠心的。
Because it is in our weakness that seal of the Lord's love can be so secure in our heart.
因为在我们的软弱中，神的那样一个爱的印
Because
记能
when
够
in
放在
our
我们心上。
weakness, although we go through our difficult times,
因为在我们的软弱中，尽管我们会经历不容易，
and if we are still leaning on the beloved,
但是如果我们还是靠着我们的良人的话，
that's the difference
那就是有区
going
别
through
的。
the wilderness.
当我们经过旷野的时候，就会有不同了。
Jesus gave us that example in His own life.
耶稣他自己就是一个生命的见证，
He is the one who has been through the wilderness.
他自己也曾经历过旷野。
The Lord Jesus in all His magnificent glory.
那耶稣在他这样的一个荣耀的彰显中，
Think of Jesus. He was the Genesis 1 God.
那想象一下，他就是创世纪的那个神，
He was the uncreated Genesis 1 God.
他就是在这个创世纪中他不是被创造的那一位
He
神，
was never created.
他不是被创造的，
We are His creation.
我们是他的创造
He
者。
spoke and everything come into place.
他说有就有，
Think about that magnificent Jesus.
想象这样的一
That
个大能的耶稣，
magnificent God that we have.
我们是拥有这样的一位大能的神。
Yet, He is willing to go through the weakness, the wilderness.
但是他也愿意经历软弱和旷野，
Because He wants to set Himself as an example for us to follow after Him.
因为他想要让我们成为一个榜样，我们是可以追随的。
He, in His magnificence, say, I volunteer.
那在他这样的一个大能中，他还说我愿意。
The all-magnificent, glorious Son of God say, I volunteer.
那这样的一个大能的荣耀的神的儿子说，我情愿
To become man.
成为人。
You know how awesome that is?
你知道这有何等的奇
You know
妙
how？significant that is?
这有多么的特别？
You know, sometimes for us, even just in our place, sometimes we are reluctant to volunteer for certain things that we think it is a bit too much.
那像我们有时候我们也不会甘愿去做一些事情，觉得好像对我们不容易，或者太多了。
It takes extra time, extra resources, extra finance, extra everything.
因为那可能会多花一些时间、一些金钱，就是在每一项事情上可能都会多花一些。
But the Son of the most magnificent high God, the Genesis 1 God who spoke and everything came into being, said, I volunteer.
但是在创世纪1章所说的这样的一个说有就有、命立就立的神，他说我愿意，
I'm willing to come into this fallen world
我愿意来到这个堕落的世界上，
because I love my creation so much.
因为我爱我所创造的那一切，
And there is no other way except I come
而且没有其他的方式除了我
and
来到他
show
当
you
中，
how to walk this place.
而且向你们来显示、来证明如何在这个世上来行走、来
How
活
to
着，
walk through this wilderness.
如何经历这样的旷野，
And how to be victorious and triumph over this wilderness.
而且在旷野中如何得胜。
And You know, when the Lord Jesus came as a human,
当主耶稣降世为人的时候，
have you ever thought about why in the whole of heavens, in Revelation, no one is found worthy to open the seal?
那我们有没有想到，在启示录中这个天上说，没有任何一个人是配得打开那书卷的，
Only the Lord Jesus,
只有主耶稣配得，
because of what He has done for us.
因着他为我们所做的。
You know, the whole of heaven recognizes Jesus as the Lamb that was slain.
那这个天上的天使，整个的天上都认出耶稣是那被杀的羔羊。
Yes, our God is the Trinity, the Trinity God, that is the God the Father, God the Son, and the God the Holy Spirit.
那我们的神是圣父、圣子、圣灵三位一体的神。
But do you know that when the Lord Jesus came to this earth to become human,
但是当耶稣来到这个世上成为人的时候，
He is the only one in heaven and earth that is fully God and fully man.
他是唯一的那一位，在天上在地上既是完全的神，
No
也是
one
完全的人。
No one in the Trinity Godhead is as glorious. I'm not saying that the Father and the Son is not glorious. They have different function. But the Lord Jesus, because of His obedience,
那因着耶稣的顺服，
He became totally man for us.
他就成为我们当中一个完全的
But
人。
yet He is God.
但是他是神，
That's why He is found to be worthy.
所以他是配得的。
Because the Father regarded His obedience so much.
因为神看重他这样的一个顺服，
And the whole of heaven recognized Him.
那整个的这个天堂都认出他。
There was one book that was by Rick Joyner that I like very much and is entitled When He Walked the Earth.
那有一本雷克乔纳写的书，就是说当神在地上的时
I
候，
don't know whether any one of you have read it, but it is about how it is almost like a allegory, like a story about how the angel was looking at us, human, in how the way we treat the Son of God.
那这个就是说那些天使看我们
When
这些人，
Jesus walked the earth.
以及我们如何来看待耶稣，当耶
So
稣
the
在
angel is saying-
行走的时候，
So it's almost like it's a story that the angel is looking upon earth when Jesus was walking the earth.
所以就是说，当耶稣在这个地上行走的时候，天使也在天上观看的。
And the angels almost cringe and say, how could human treat the Son of God this way?
那这些天使们都觉得非常的奇怪，就是说人怎么能以这样的方式来
Don't
对
they
待耶稣
know
呢？
that at the flick of a finger, He creates the whole world, universe?
那这些天使们说，他们难道不知道吗？只动一个指头，耶稣就造了天。
Don't they know the power of the Son of God?
他们难道不知道这个神子的能力吗？
How could they treat Him this way?
他们如何能以这样的方式来对
So
待
the
他呢？
angels were cringing at how we treated the Son of God on earth.
所以这些天使们都很愤怒，就说我们怎么能这样来对待神的儿子？
You know, when Jesus volunteered to become man, He is totally man.
当这个耶稣自愿
Although
成
he
为
is
人的时
totally
候，
God
他就成为一个完全的人，尽管他是一个完全的神。
You know how much, you know the word condescending, that I really like this word, condescending. It's like coming down to a level from high up.
那所以说，这个耶稣呢，就是从高处降到低处，
He is willing to condescend.
他愿意降卑。
That talks about His meekness.
这个就讲到了他的温柔的这一面。
You know, when he was nailed on the cross, his crucifixion on the cross, those marks on him, they never ever will disappear from him.
当他被钉在十字架的时候，他身上的钉痕都不会永远都不会
Right
消
now
失。
is in his glorious state in heaven.
尽管现在在他天上这样的一个荣耀的地位上，
He treasures those marks
他很宝贵那些钉痕，
because that reminds him of how important we are to him.
这个提醒他我们对他是何等的重要。
He embraces the cross. He embraces what he has done for us.
他拥抱十字架，拥抱为我们所做的。
He really, really loves us to the extent, to the point of death.
他真的是爱我们，直到为我们死。
So the reward of the wilderness is really the seal of his love.
所以这个旷野的试炼的奖赏，就是在心上做
So when he recognizes that we have been tested and we came out of the wilderness, he rejoices because that is the victorious bride.
所以当他认出我们是从旷野上来的，经过试炼的，因为这个就是一个我们得胜的标记。
And especially when we are still leaning on him
而且特别是我们还是依然靠着他，
in the wilderness.
在旷野中。
You know, when love is in the equation, the wilderness transforms.
就说当有爱在里边的时候，这个旷野就被转换了。
The wilderness, yes, is a very, very difficult place.
旷野是一个很不容易的地
It's a
方，
very difficult place to be in.
是很不容易在那里待着的地方。
The Lord went through it 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness.
主曾经在旷野过了40昼
He
夜，
was tempted and he was tested, both physically, spiritually. He was taunted by the evil one.
那他被试探，也被试炼，都被那恶者。
So he knows firsthand what is the wilderness like.
所以主他自己知道旷野的滋味如何。
And he came out victorious.
那他是以得胜者的姿态胜过了旷野，
He was triumphant
他是
over the wilderness.
在旷野上得胜了。
So that's why when his bride goes through the wilderness and come out, he recognizes right away.
所以当他的心腹们经历了旷野，而且从中出来的时候，他立刻就能认
He
识
says,
他。
who is this rareness, uniqueness of the mature bride of Christ that I'm seeing here?
他说：“这个我所寻找的那个成熟的心腹是谁呢？
When we are in the wilderness, we can encounter him.
当我们在旷野中的时候，我们是能够与主相遇的。
If we continue to lean on him.
如果我们一直是靠着良人的话，
You know, a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to be really, really red hot for you, Lord.
那有些人会说：是啊，主啊，我真的是要为你大大的来发热心。
When I'm out of the wilderness.
当我从旷野中出来的时候，
When you deliver me,
当你释放我的时候，
I am going to be really red hot for you.
那我真的就要为你火热了。
But what the Lord wants us to be is to engage him when we are in the wilderness.
但是
To be red hot for him, even in the wilderness.
但是主所要我们做的，就是我们在旷野中的时候，也是与他同
Have
在，
a heart that is still leaning on him
有
when we
一
are still in the
有
wilderness.
一颗依靠他的心。
That is the only way we can come out of the wilderness triumphant.
那是唯一的方式，我们能够从旷野中以得胜者的姿态出来，
Because he has been through it himself.
因为主耶稣他自己就经历了旷野。
He not only went through the wilderness of the desert, he went through the wilderness of the crucifixion, and he was victorious.
他不单经历这个世上的这个旷野，而且经历了十字架上的这个旷野。
And yet, you know, in his all magnificence, he said, you know, there is one thing that really touched me about what the Lord says in Matthew 11:29. He says that, learn of me, for I am weak and lowly.
就在马太福音11章讲到，主耶稣说：“你们当学我的样式，因我谦卑柔和。”
You know, this is the Genesis 1 God talking.
这就是那创世纪1章的神在讲话，
In all his fullness of power,
在他这样的一个完备的大能中。
you know, if you notice, the Lord Jesus doesn't say I am great, but he says I am meek and lowly. Although he is great, we know he is great, we know he is all powerful, and the whole Bible alludes to his greatness and his power.
那我们知道主耶稣是有大能的，但是在马太福音11章这里，主
But
并
you
没
know
有说
what
他是有
came
能力的，
out of
他
his
是
own
柔
mouth?
和谦卑。
What came out of his own mouth about himself that he described himself is, I am weak and lowly.
但是主对自己的描述是我是柔和谦卑的。
You know how significant that is?
你们知道这有多么的特别吗？
You're talking about the Son of God in all his glorious magnificence that he knows that he is in.
那作为这样的一个荣耀的神的儿子，
But yet he says, I'm weak, I'm meek and lowly.
但是他却说我是柔和谦卑。
You know who is the other meekest man in the Bible? I'm glad that Frank read Moses today. Talk about Moses.
那在世上另一个最谦卑的人是谁呢？
You know Moses in Numbers chapter 12
在
say,
民数记12
I mean
章，
Moses in Numbers chapter 12, it's described Moses as humble, very humble.
那描述到摩西是最谦卑的一
It
位。
says Moses was the most humble man more than all men on the earth.
摩西比世上的任何一位人都谦卑。
Numbers chapter 12.
在民数记第12章，
But yet who wrote Numbers chapter 12?
但是谁写的民数记呢？
Moses.
摩西自己写的。
He knows who he is.
他知道他自己是谁。
You know, meekness is not weakness.
我们要知道这个柔和和软弱是不同的。
Meekness is actually strength under control.
这个柔和呢，就是你的力量是在你的控制之下的。
A meek person is not a weak person.
一个温柔的人，不代表他是一个软弱的人。
Moses actually, his life was almost like divided into 3 40 years seasons.
摩西的一生可以分为3个40年的这样的一个阶段。
It's like the first 40 years, he was the prince of Egypt.
前40年他是这个埃及的王子。
He was actually a very smart man. If you know the Egyptian philosophy and the culture in those days, imagine he was picked up by Pharaoh's daughter to raise up as her own son.
那他是一个很聪明的人，想象一下是法老王的女儿把他抚养在皇宫里面长大。
He was the most learned man at that time, as you can say,
那个时候最有学问
because
的一个人。
Egypt was a great nation, has all the philosophy, and in fact in Acts chapter 7 you can read that whole chapter talks about Moses too, about how great he is and what a learned man he is.
那在这个使徒行传第7章讲到摩西，就说他是一个伟大的人物，而且是非常有学问的人。
So the first 40 years of Moses' life, he was gaining a lot of strength.
所以在他生命中前40年，他得到了很多的能力。
He was really becoming a somebody.
那他真的是一个与众不同的人物。
But the next 40 years, he was put in the wilderness.
但接下来的40年，他却被放在旷野之中。
He was tending sheep.
他在那儿牧羊。
He was, think of that, God's purpose for him in the next 40 years was for him to lose strength.
那我
He
们
gained strength in the first 40 years.
那我们想象一下，在摩西的前40年，他是得到了能力，但接下来的40年，神却要把他的这些能力拿
But the
走。
next 40 years, he wanted him to lose strength.
但是接下来的40年，神
He
想要
wanted
失去
him
他的一些
to
力
go
量，
through the wilderness
想要让摩西经过这些旷野，
because God has a plan for him.
因为神在他身上有一个计划。
Because it is through the wilderness that the Lord's strength is made perfect in him,
因为
in his weakness.
这样的旷野，神的能力在软弱的人身上显得完全。
So the Lord changed him
所以神改变了他，
to the point that when he was before the Lord, he says, I cannot speak.
所以改变摩西到这样的一个地步，当他在神面前的时候，他说：“主啊，我不知道该如何讲话。”
He has to totally depend on the strength of the Lord.
他开始要完全的依靠神的能力，
Because the Lord had a great plan for him.
因为神在他身上有伟大的计划。
Because after the second 40 years, the third 40 years, the Lord has assigned him to lead the children of Israel.
因为在第二个40年之后，接下来的第三个40年，神要他带领以色
So
列
he
人。
was like the mature son of God now rising up after the wilderness.
所以在旷野之旅之后，他就成为神成熟的儿子，从旷野中出来了。
Because in the wilderness, he totally was leaning on the Lord.
因为在旷野那40年，他完全依靠着神。
So the third season of his life, he was ready, he was mature.
所以当他生命中第三个季节来到的时候，他就预备好了，他已经成熟了。
He was ready to do the most significant work for the Lord.
他已经预备好要为神做那很大的工作。
Just like when the Lord Jesus came out of the wilderness,
就像耶稣他自己从旷野中
he
出
was
来，
ready to do his ministry.
他也就预备好做他的服
He was
事。
strengthened by God the Father in the wilderness.
在这个旷野中，他被神加了力量。
So the wilderness is very, very important for us.
所以旷野对我们来说是非常非常重要的。
If we recognize that,
如果我们能够认出它来的话，
we really can grow in the wilderness.
我们在旷野中真的是能够成长。
Because when we are in the wilderness and we are still leaning on Him,
因为当我们在旷野中，但是依然靠着我们神的时候，
that is what Paul experienced too.
这也是保罗所经历的。
Why he was able to say His grace is sufficient. You know, in the same chapter in 2 Corinthians chapter 12,
哥林多后书第12章，
when Paul was describing about the thorn in his flesh,
当保罗讲到他肉身上那根刺的时候，
we never really quite knew what that thorn in the flesh that Paul was identifying.
当然我们并不真的知道他所讲的肉身那根刺代表什么。
You know, if we look through our life, we have thorns in our flesh too.
如果看我们自己的一生，我们自己肉身上也是有刺的。
And I thank God for thorns in my flesh.
那我也为着我肉身上的刺来感谢我们的神。
You know, it is through those difficult thorns that the Lord stood before Paul and strengthened him.
就是因着这样不容易的这根刺，主为保罗站立，而且加他的力量。
In 2 Corinthians chapter 12, Paul said, I prayed 3 times for the Lord to remove this thorn from me.
在哥林多后书12章，保罗说：“为了我肉身的这根刺，我曾3次求主，使
I
这根刺
believe
离
that
开
when
我。”
Paul said he prayed 3 times, it is not like 3 prayers to the Lord.
那我相信，当保罗讲3次这样的求主的时候，并不是说只祷告了
I
3次。
believe it is 3 seasons that he's been through.
我觉得这是他生命中所经历的3个季节。
I believe that he must have prayed and prayed and prayed and fasted and fasted and fasted.
我觉得他肯定是祷告、禁食、为
It's
着
not
这
like
件
Lord
事。
take this flesh away, take this thorn away from me 1 time, 2 times, 3 times he prayed. I don't think it's like that.
而并不是说只是跟主祷告了1次、2次、3次，说
I
把这
think
根
he
刺
really,
离开
really
我。
persevered and asked the Lord to remove that thorn from his flesh.
那我觉得他一直是在求这个主，忍耐的求主把这根刺挪走。
Sometimes the Lord just does not.
但是有时候神并不这样做，
it doesn't mean that He doesn't love us.
并不代表着神不爱我们，
Because He loves us enough to know that that thorn is so important for us.
因为他爱我们到一个地步，说这个刺对我们来讲是很重要的。
You know, sometimes as a parent, my child may want me to do something that I, in my love, may be inclined to doing, but I feel that it is not wise if I did it for them.
那作为这个为人父母，有时候我的子女们也是让我做一些事情。当然，从我天人来讲，我是想要这样做，但是呢，再仔细想一想，从智慧的角度讲，这样做是不对的。
So in those times, it is very painful for me seeing maybe my child go through a certain difficulty and it looks like I'm not helping her.
那在这样的时刻，就是说，对于我来讲也很痛苦，看他们经历这样的不容易的事情。那给外人看来好像我没有帮助他们。
But sometimes I really know that they have to walk that through.
但是有时候我知道他们真的是要经历这些不容易。
Sometimes I really know that it is important that I do not interfere with their wilderness.
那有时候我真的是知道，我不要介入于他们这样的一个旷野的旅程。
But it is in that difficult time when Paul asked the Lord to remove that thorn from his flesh that the Lord actually presented the solution for him.
那也是在这样的旷野和不容易中，保罗要求主把这根刺挪走，那神就给他了一个出路。
He says, Paul, I know it's difficult.
那主对神说：“我知道这个是不容易的事情。”
He says, I know you have that thorn in your flesh.
那我知道在你肉身上有一根刺。
But you know, Paul, my grace is enough for you.
但是保罗，你知道吗？我的恩典够你用。
You know, my grace is sufficient for you.
我的恩典是够你用的。
And you know what, Paul? I want you to go through that wilderness.
那保罗，我想让你经历这样的旷野。
You know, so that my strength can be made perfect in your thorn.
所以我的能力就会在你这样的一个刺上来显得完
You know,
全。
Paul, I love you enough to want to see that you see the power of my strength in your life.
保罗，我真的是爱你到这样的一个地步，我想要你看到我的能力在你身上的彰显。
It is easy for me to remove it,
要把你身上的刺挪走是很容易的一件事，
but I need to see my strength be perfected in your weakness.
但是我想要看到我的能力在你的软弱上显得完全。
I want you to continue to lean on me,
我想要你一直来依靠我，
because it is through leaning on me that you become mature.
因为就是借着这样的不断的依靠我，你
It is through leaning on me, your willingness and your obedience in the midst of wilderness.
那借着这样的依靠我，你的旷野中产
That
生
is
这样
the
的
only
智慧，
place where I can perfect my strength in you.
那是唯一的一个地方，我的能力能够在你的软弱上显得
That
完
is
全。
the only place, the only situation, the only circumstances that my strength can be the perfect strength in its fullness.
也是唯一在这样的情况下，我的能力能够达到它完全的地步。
So he says, Paul, do you not want to see my strength manifested in its perfectness?
那所以他说，保罗，难道你不愿意看到我的能力在你这样的一个不完全之上显得完全吗？
Paul understood that.
那保罗明白神对他说的。
And he later said, I rejoice in my infirmities.
所以保罗接下来说，我更喜欢夸自己的软弱。
And that is the mature Son of God talking.
这就是一个神成熟的儿子的说话方式。
When he finally was able to understand why that thorn in his flesh was not going to be removed.
当他最终明白为什么肉身的这根刺不会被挪走，
Because it is important for his maturity.
因为对于他变得成熟是非常重要的。
You know, the Lord I remember the last time when I talk about Song of Songs, I was saying about, why the Lord wants us to love Him with all our heart, soul, and mind.
上一次我在讲到雅歌的时候，我谈到神为什么让我们全心全意的来爱他，
Because He wants to protect us.
因为他想要来保护我们，
Because He wants us to love Him and be clothed in that love, so that when we see Him in His glory and magnificence in the last day, when He appears, He is no longer going to be the Christ on the cross. He is coming back as our bridegroom king, and He is going to be all glorious and magnificent. And when we found that we have not loved Him enough, we will be in such remorse that we may not even be able to handle it.
因为他想要我们尽心尽意尽力的来爱他，就是让我们穿上这样的一个爱的衣服。当耶稣再来的时候，他不再是那钉在十字架上的那个羔羊，而是我们荣耀的新郎的再回来。如果我
He's
们
the
不以
King of Kings.
他是万王之王，
He's the Lord of Lords.
他是万主之
And
主，
He's coming back in that state.
而且他是以这样的一个形式来
And we want
第二
to
次回来。
be properly clothed.
那我们要穿戴合宜，
Because He doesn't want to see us. He can't bear to see our heart in sorrow that we were not ready. That's why He said the bride must make herself ready.
因为他不想要我们带着一颗悲伤的心来见他，所以他说我的心腹们一定要预备好。
That is why He wants us to love Him with all our heart, soul, and mind. That's why He wants us to fulfill the first commandment. That is to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, and mind. Because when we fulfill the first commandment, He gives us strength to fulfill the second commandment. And that is to love your neighbor as yourself.
因为当我们能够成就神的第一诫命，尽心尽意尽力来爱主我们的神的时候，他就会给我们力量来完成第二诫命，就是爱人如己。
And the wilderness is the same.
旷野也是同样，
Why He puts us through the wilderness?
为什么让我们经历旷野呢？
It's also because He wants to protect us.
也是他想要来保护我们。
Because He knows that is the place that when we are able to go through and come out, like in Song of Songs chapter 8, He will recognize us.
因为这样的
He will see this mature son and mature bride.
因为经历这样的旷野之旅，我们会成为他成熟的儿女们。
Coming up from the wilderness,
从旷野里出来，
yet leaning on her beloved.
但是要靠在主的
Because
身
in
上，
this maturity, you are not depending on your own strength.
因为要经历这样的一个成熟之旅，你不是要靠自
Because
己
in
的
this
力，
maturity, you are depending on the strength of the Lord to bring you out of the wilderness.
因为你要靠着主的能力把你带出旷野。
And because you are mature enough to say, Lord, your grace is enough for me.
那当你有这样的成熟度的时候，你就会说你的恩典够我用。
Because you are mature enough to say, your strength, your perfect strength is all I want.
因为你会成熟到这样的一个地步，说你的恩典够我用。
Because you are mature enough to say that I'm not afraid to be weak.
你会成熟到这样的地步，说我不怕我的软弱。
Why does He want to protect us and He wants to keep us in weakness sometimes? Why?
为什么神有时候让我们待在这样一个软弱的境地呢？
Because weakness is the highest way that God has to protect our heart.
因为软弱是神用的一个最高的方式来保守我们的心，
Because our heart is prone to wonder.
因为我们的心容易，
Our heart is prone to becoming proud.
因为我们的心容易骄傲，
Our heart is prone to becoming self-sufficient.
因为我们的心容易自义，
That's why He uses weakness to protect us.
所以他
Just like He uses love to protect us.
所以他用软弱来保护我们，就像用他的爱来保守我们一样。
Just like He wants us to love Him with all our heart, soul, and mind, is to protect us.
就是说他想要我们尽心尽意尽力的来爱他，是为了保护我们。
Because His plan is always to prosper us.
因为他的向我们所怀的是让我们好的意念。
His plan is never to destroy us.
而不是让我们灭亡的意念。
In Jeremiah 29,
耶利米书29章，
His plan is always good for us.
他对我们所怀的意念是好的，
So we have to learn of Him.
所以我们要
He says, I'm meek and lowly.
来向主学习。
So
因为他柔和
meekness is not weakness.
所以
The Lord is not weak when He's meek.
所
But
以
the Lord is in control when He's meek.
温柔不代表软弱。当我们的主他是温柔的时候，他也能够来控制他。
You know, you can think of a wild horse, a young wild horse that is not tame. But when the horse is tame, it is in total submission.
我们可以想象这样年轻的一个野马，当它还没有被驯服的时候是没有办法被用，但是它被
It's not that the horse has lost strength, but is in now total submission.
并不是说它的力量没有了，
I
而
still
是它完
remember-
全驯服了。我还记
I still
得
remember Toby, my dog.
我的那个狗，
When he was a little baby,
当它是
he has a lot of raw energy.
当它还小的时候，它有很多这个
He would
天
keep
然的
jumping
一
and
些
snapping and chewing up things and doing all kinds of things around the house.
又蹦又跳又咬东西。
And he has destroyed so many things when he was between age maybe 1 month to 6 months.
就是在1个月到6个月大的时候，它毁坏了
He
很多
destroys
东
me, he chews up even my remote control.
西，把我那遥控器都咬坏了。
That is strength not under control.
所以它的力量当时还没有在掌控之下。
You know, when he's trained,
当
when
他
he's
被训
mature,
练以后，当他成
I
熟，
can leave him at home all day.
我
He doesn't chew up a single thing.
那我这一天都可以把他留在家里，他也不会。
Does that mean that he lost strength?
那是不是说他的能力没有了呢？
No.
不是的，
Still he has strength.
他还是有
But
力
his
量，
strength is now under control.
但是他的能力是
Because
在
he
控
is
制
in
之
total
下，
submission.
因为他完全的顺
When I
服。
tell him to sit, he sits.
我告
When
诉
I
他
tell him to lie down, he
我
lies down.
告诉他躺下，他就
When I tell him no chewing, he doesn't chew.
告诉他不要咬，他就不会咬。
But you know what? He still has a lot of strength.
但是他还是有很多力量的。
Just about a month ago, Celeste took Toby. Celeste took and another 2 friends took Toby out for a walk in the evening.
那就是有一次我的女儿和她的2个朋友带她晚上出去，
They met this ferocious German Shepherd who was unleashed.
她遇到一个这个德国那个牧羊犬是没有被拴着的。
So there was these 3 girls with Toby,
那这3个女孩子呢，
and
就
this
牵
other
着
friend of Celeste also has a little dog, a tiny little dog. You know how big Toby is, right?
那Celeste 的一个朋友还牵着一只小狗，
So there were 3 girls with 2 dogs.
所以3个女孩带着2只
One of
狗。
them is Toby. One of them is a tiny little dog.
那有一只是我们的大的 Toby 狗，
And
有
they
一只小
met
狗。
this ferocious German Shepherd. German Shepherd,
那他们遇到这个德国牧
who
羊
is
犬，
actually very big, bigger than Toby,
比这个 Toby 还要大，
and unleashed.
而且还没被拴着。
So this ferocious dog came and attacked these 3 girls
所以这个牧羊犬就
and started barking and very, very ferocious.
对这个3个女孩又犬
You know what
又叫。
Toby did?
那你知道 Toby 怎么
He
做的？
stood in front of the 3 girls and started roaring at the German Shepherd.
他就站在这3个女孩的前面，开始对那
And
个
he
牧羊犬
started his strength now. He knows when to exercise his strength.
所以他知道什么时候该使用他的
He
力
was
量，
barking and roaring at this German Shepherd
所以他就对那个
until
牧羊犬又吼
I
又
think
叫。
the owner was close by. The German Shepherd's owner was close by.
那这个牧羊犬的主人就在附
So
近。
and then these 3 girls were screaming away. Actually, it was quite a commotion that night when they came back. They told me
那这3个女孩就是叫着
they
就
were
跑开了。
screaming so loudly, and cars were passing by and asking, "Are you okay?" They said, "No, I'm not okay. The dog is." So the people were very nice, and they kind of stopped and tried to help them. But Toby really stood up for them.
那当时也有人停下车来想帮助
So
这
he's
三个
really
女孩，但
proud
是
of
这个 Toby 呢，真的是帮助到
So
他。
he stood in front of the 3 girls and started roaring at the German Shepherd. So the German Shepherd couldn't come close, but actually that dog was a lot bigger than Toby.
所以这个 Toby 这个狗就站
Until
在
the owner came out and quickly grabbed hold of the German Shepherd.
那直到这个牧羊犬的主人那个把它带走。
So that was, although he's no longer chewing up things and getting all rowdy at home, but he knows when to exercise his strength.
所以尽管 Toby 在家里不再咬东西了，但是他知道什么时候把他的
So
力量
that is
展现
strength
出来。
under control.
所以就是这个力量是在控制之下，
So I'm really proud of him.
所以真的是很为他骄傲。
So that was I just thought of that as an example to talk about strength under control.
所以我觉得这是一个很好的例子。
So, you know, in our weakness, we have different types of weakness. Some weakness is really voluntary, and the Lord really like us to exercise voluntary weakness because, you know, what is voluntary weakness? It's like, you know, although we have the right maybe sometimes to speak up for ourselves, we decided to keep silent.
那有一些是自觉性的这样的一种软弱，就是说当我们有权利说出我们自己的想法。
The Lord exercised a lot of that in his trial when he was about to be crucified.
那这个主他自己经历了很多这样的
He was
试探，
all powerful, but he exercised restraint.
但是他是这样的有能
He
力，
was like a lamb led to the slaughter.
他就像那个羊被牵到宰杀之地，
That is really strength under control.
这就是说他的能力在他的控制之下。
And sometimes we have fasting and prayer. That is also a voluntary weakness, that we volunteer to be weak.
那有时候我们进食，有时候我们祷告，也是我们自愿把自己放在一个软弱
So
的地方。
those are very precious moments for the Lord to be able to raise us up.
所以这个对神来讲也是很宝贵的时间。
Sometimes
他兴起我
weakness
们
are involuntary, it just happen. Like, you know, we can become sick, we can become like the evil of this world. There's lots of things that happen that is not that we volunteer that way, but you know, Christians get persecuted.
那有时候软弱是不自觉的，比方说生病，或者是基督徒被迫害。
So we want to be, most of the time we want to be strong, but if we really understood that in the wilderness, that's when we really can become perfect in our strength because of the Lord's grace upon us, that is really power is perfected in weakness.
尽管有时候我们想要这个刚强，但是我们要知道，在旷野这样的一个软弱之地，我们是要来依靠我们的主来
Have you
变
ever
得刚
thought
强。
that the same God who planned the crucifixion of Jesus could also be the same God who plans your crucifixion, your cross?
那我们有没有想到过，这个为耶稣定了这个十字架计划的这样的一位神，同样也能够在我们生命中有十字架的功课。
You know, our magnificent Jesus chose to be in human form
那我们这样的一个荣耀的耶稣选择
because he
肉
knows that
身显现，
in his obedience and through his weakness, he has the power to allow us to be transformed.
因为他知道在他这样的一个软弱中，他就是让他这个能力进来，能够被转换。
That's why he's the only one who is found to be worthy in all of heavens.
所以耶稣是那唯一的一位在天上
He carries those nail scars through the rest of eternity.
因为他这个身上一直带着这些钉痕的印记，直到永远，
That's why he's worthy.
所以他是配得的。
You know, in our weakness, the Lord never leaves us or forsakes us.
在我们的软弱中，神从来没有抛弃我们，也没有离开我们。
And I just want to end with this experience I had.
那我想要用我的这样的一个经历来做结束。
Recently, I had a very tangible, real experience that the Lord gave me that almost blew me away.
神给我这样的一个可见的这样的一个经历，真的是让我非常感动。
And that was the time I was meditating on Song of Songs 2, still sitting under the apple tree.
当时我在默想这个雅歌第2章，还坐在苹果树下。
I was very happy sitting under the apple tree with the Lord.
因为在苹果树下跟主一坐的是很
Because I love that.
因为我很喜欢这样的光景。
I love to sit there with Him and just enjoy His presence. And, I just love that.
那我喜欢坐在树下享受他的同在。
But He ruffled my feathers.
但是呢，他却就说这个掀动我的羽毛。
There was one day I was driving to work.
有一天我开车去上班。
Pastor was, I think, at that time in St. Louis.
那会儿牧师在美国 St. Louis。
So he was not at home, of course. You know how sometimes when things happen, the first thing you call on is your husband.
你知道有时候
Actually, it should be the Lord.
通常我们第一个想要给我们的丈夫打电话，但是实际上应该先求告我们的主。
God put me in that experience for a very good purpose.
所以神把我放在这样的一个境地。
I was driving to work on Oak Street.
我在这个 Oak 街正在开往上班的路上。
My car died in the middle of the road.
但是在路中央，我的车死
And you know how busy Oak Street is?
我们大家都知道
And you know
很
how
忙，
ungracious most drivers are?
而且很多的这个开车的也都没有耐
I
心。
don't know what to do. It's just died. It actually died. Like stop.
那我也不知道该怎么办，因为车
And cars were honking and wondering why this woman is stopping in the middle of the light, despite the fact I put on my hazard light.
那他们这个就在那儿这个
They still
不断
honk
地
at
影响
me
一直摁喇叭，
as though I wanted to just stay in the middle of the road.
好像我就想喜欢在路中央待着似的。
So I pray, Lord, I cannot stay in the middle of the road. Can you please make this car start and go somewhere?
那所以我向主祷告说，这个车不能停在路中央啊，至少能够开到其他的地方。
Stop, start many times. Nothing happened. And then one last time it worked.
所以我就不断的在那儿试，终于把这个车
So I
打
managed
好了
to drive to the, I think it's, I don't know what street that is. Maybe it's 9. I don't know what street that is. Anyway, on the way to work, it's a side street in front of Vancouver General Hospital.
所以我就终于能够这个离开主路，开到温哥华。
This time is even worse. Although I'm not in the middle of Oak Street Bridge, I'm in the middle of emergency.
但是我在这个
Vancouver General Hospital emergency, right there where all the ambulance supposed to go in and out.
但我在医院的急诊的门口停
But
下来。
at least I'm on the side, and it died again.
那至少我不在路中央，但是车又死火了。
I say, Lord, it's in the middle of the emergency, and I'm not supposed to be here.
那我对主说，我这个停在这个急诊门口也不合适啊，
I put on my hazard light again.
所以又打开应急灯。
I remember there was once my car, the tire blown, and the first thing I did is I called Pastor, my tire blown.
我记得有一次我的那个车胎爆了，我也是首先给牧师打电话说，哎，我的车胎坏了，
I said, come quickly.
我说赶紧来帮我。
And of course, being the good husband as he is, he came very quickly.
那当
And
然，
not only that, he called BCAA.
当然那一次牧师就很快到了，而且也
And very quickly he came and I said, okay, and then I called the office and somebody came to get me. So I just left the car and everything went to the office. That was the end of it. Very good. Didn't have to deal with any problem.
所以上一次就是牧师帮我处理的事情。
But this time I was no husband. So I said, Lord, it's in the middle of the emergency. And true enough, this security came out and said, you are not supposed to be stopping here. I said, I know.
那这一次呢，这个丈夫却不
And
在
then I
身
said, my
边。
car died. I can't move. You see, I tried to start and it wouldn't move. Then he said, I still have to give you a ticket. I said, but my car died.
然后我还被罚了一张罚单。
But he says, this is emergency. And it's in the middle of the place that you're not supposed to be. I said, I know. But he said, I still have to give you a ticket. I said, okay, fair enough. But what can I do, right? So of course, in the meantime, I already called BCAA.
那同时我也给 BCA 打了电话。
So remember, I was no longer under the apple tree.
所以这样的一个情景，当然不是苹果树下的情景了。
So very quickly, not very quickly, I waited about maybe 20, 30 minutes, BCAA came.
大概20-30分钟后 ，BCA 来了。
And this is really an experience that I feel the Lord gave it to me to strengthen me and to also give me like a tangible experience for me to understand that He never left me in my weakness.
所以这个就是一个可见的经历，神在我的软弱中，他不会抛下我不管。
Although He wants me to totally lean on Him.
而且他也是想要我完全的来依靠他。
You know, I have never met a truck driver that looks like an angel.
那我从来没有遇到过一个卡车司机，但是却像一位天使。
And I tell you, I totally believe is an experience that the Lord gave it to me to strengthen me.
那我真的是相信，就是主给我这样的经历，是为了加我的力量。
You know, this BCAA driver, in a big tow truck, he came to my window and knocked on the window, and I rolled down. I said, "Oh, thank God you're here." And then he said, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm not."
那这个 BCA 的拖车司机就敲敲我的车窗说：“哎，你现在怎么样？好吗？”
I said, "I'm not okay. My car died."
我说我觉得不好，因为我的车熄火了。
Then he says, "Don't worry.
他说不要着急。
I want you to start the car again."
我想让你再发动你的车。
I said, "No, it won't start. I've started like 10 times."
我说我已经试了10次了。
And he says, "I want you to start again. I want you to try again."
他说我想让你再试一下。
And I tried.
那我就试了。
First time it didn't start. I said, "I told you so." It didn't start.
他第一次这个车没有打着，我说
"I want you to try again."
然后他说你再试一次。
Second time it didn't start.
第二次也没有打着。
I said, "See, it didn't start. It cannot start." I said, "Can you hook up the tow truck and tow it to somewhere?"
我说你看
Tow
吧。
it. And actually, I already called my workshop, by the way. I said, "You can just tow it to my workshop. It's close by." I was giving him all the instructions.
我说你看吧，这个车打不着，你还不如把它拖到哪儿去呢？
He said, "Try one more time."
然后他说你再试一次。
And he has the sweetest, gentlest voice
而
of a
且
truck driver.
而且他是用那么温柔甜美的声音
So，I tried.
所以我就再试了一次。
And then I said, "Oh yeah, it does. It starts." I said, "I don't know why. It didn't start last time. Many, many times." He says, "When I'm here, it's always going to be okay."
这次车打着了，他说
It's almost like the Lord was using him to speak to me.
就好像主透过他来对我讲
I
话。
tell you, every word that he spoke was like an angel speaking to me and like the Lord speaking to me.
他对我讲的每一句话都像天
He
使
said,
对我讲。
when I'm here, it's always going to be okay.
他说我在这儿的时候，事情总
I
会
say,
变好。
thank you, Lord. Then he says, now I want you to drive with me.
然后他让我跟他一起
But
来
I said, what happens if it stops again in the middle of the road? I already had the experience. I don't like it.
他说我可不想在路中央又熄火了。
But he continued to encourage me. He said, I want you to try again.
但是他不断的鼓励我，让我再试
He
一下。
says, you just drive. I will be right behind you.
他说你就开车吧，我就在后边
You
跟
know,
着你，
it is so comforting.
因为这使我特
It's
别
like
安
the
慰。
Lord speaking to me.
就好像
You
在
just
这里
drive,
你就
I
开
will
车
be
吧
right behind
我就
you.
在后边跟着你。
And true enough, I drove.
所以我就
And
开
he was
车。
right behind me. So we drove from the side street to the main street.
所以
Now
我
I'm
们又开
on
到主
West Broadway,
在
a
这个
very busy street again.
Broadway 上，也是一个很忙
I
的
drove,
街
drove,
道。
drove.
那我就开呀开。
In the middle of the road, died again.
那在这个路中央，车又死火了。
Then I came down and I said, no, I'm not going to drive anymore. I think it's better that you hook it up and truck it away.
我说我再也不想开了，最好就
So he came down off his tow truck again, came to my window
所以
and
他就从
said,
车上下来，到我的窗前
you
说
know, his words were so encouraging. I really believe I had an encounter with the Lord that day.
他的话语非常的温柔，我真的觉得那天我遇到了主。
He says, you have done your best.
他说你已经尽力了，
Let me take over now.
让我现在为你做吧。
I tell you, it blows me away. Every word he spoke
他所说的每一句话都让我特别的感
He
动。
says, "You have done your best. Let me take over now."
你已经尽了最大的努力，现在让我来做吧。
It was so comforting to me.
非常的安慰我心。
I was in the middle of West Broadway with all the cars coming, and this time, you know what? The cars were not honking at me anymore
那我就
because I have this big protecting truck behind me.
那这次呢，
And they knew what was happening.
向我鸣喇叭，因为我
It's almost like I felt so protected.
所以我觉得深被保护。
So he managed to steer it. It's almost like I couldn't start the car, but he could so easily just steer it. Like he just pushed it and the car just went to the side of the street. I mean, of course he is a professional, but it just goes to show me that when the Lord takes over, it's so easy.
所以当我们看到当主接手的时候，事情就变得容易了。
So he pushed it to the side of the street and then he says, "Now you climb up to my truck."
所以他就把车弄到路旁，然后让我到他的拖车上。
You know, that day, of all days, I was wearing a really tight skirt.
那天我穿的是一个很窄的裙子，
Because I was going to work, right? I was actually
要去
in,
上班。
that particular day, somehow I wore a pencil skirt.
那个裙子很窄，
So, you know how high the tow truck is?
因为拖车很高，
And I was having my high heels and I was climbing up the tow truck.
那我又穿着高跟鞋往这个车上爬，
It's not a comfortable thing,
当然不是一个舒服的事情。
but the Lord sometimes says, "You have been sitting under the apple tree for too long.
那有时候主会说你在
Come with me.
坐的时间太长了，
Let's go through the mountains and the rugged terrains and let's go bounce around through the mountains.
起来与我翻山越岭。
However uncomfortable you feel."
无论你觉得多么的不舒适，
So, in my high heels and tight skirt, I climb up this really high truck. It's a tow truck, it's rough and it's tough, and so I sat behind this tow truck driver as he towed my car away.
所以我就这个爬到了他的这个
It
拖车
was
上。
really a very good experience, and I believe the Lord spoke to me so clearly that day
我觉得这是一个很好的经历。我
when
觉
I
得
was
那天
just
对我很
meditating
清楚
on
地说话
Psalm.
因为我当
of
时正
Psalms
在
2.
默想雅歌第2章，
Really, seriously, I was so content under the apple tree.
因为我在苹果树下觉得很满足。
And he says, "Come with me.
他说起来与我同去，
I want you to be uncomfortable,
我想让你不舒服
but，I'm right behind you.
但我就在你的后边。
And when I'm around, everything is going to be okay.
当我在你附近的时候，事情都会好转。
And when you've done your best, I can take over."
当你做了你最大的努力的
He's
时候，
so
我们
good.
就来
God
接
is
手。
so good.
主是这样的美好
And。you know what? The story doesn't end.
这个故事还没有完结。
I was sitting on this tow truck.
我坐在他的拖车上，
It's very uncomfortable, I tell you,
真的很不舒服，
because I'm very prone to motion sickness. So this tow truck was not comfortable for me.
所以这个拖车对我来讲是不舒服的。
And somehow he turned on his heat so high, I don't know why. It was so hot.
那这个车里面又很热，
And I was so uncomfortable, and I'm prone to motion sickness. I felt I was going to throw up.
那我就是说这个有点晕车，我都要吐了。
But I continued to endure.
但是我还是在那
I
忍着。
still talked to him.
那我还是对他讲
I
话。
said, "Thank you for coming. You know, this means so much to me." And I said, "How long have you been doing this?"
我问他做拖车司机多久了？
But you know, every word he says is like the Lord speaking. You know, when you ask somebody, "How long have you been doing this?" I mean, "How long have you been working as this?" They would probably just tell you, "Oh, how many years I've been doing this and all that." You know what his response was?
你知道他的回答是什么吗？
"I'm ancient."
就是我
So
做
it
了，
straight away reminded me that he's like the ancient of days.
那我觉得他就像那古时的日子
He。didn't tell me how long he was doing this. He just said, "I'm ancient."
他并没有具体讲他做了多久，他只是说做了很久了。
Then I started talking to him again. I said, "You know what? I got my ticket and blah, blah, blah." He said, "Don't worry, you got a ticket. They shouldn't be giving you a ticket." He said, "Take this." Then he scribbled something for me and he said, "Go and talk to them and you'll be okay." It's like, you know, the Lord wants to even protect me and take care of little minor, things.
那我还跟他说，我还吃了一张罚单，他说没有
And he
关
was
系。
very, very good. And then as he was driving, he was humming. Like he's such a happy truck driver.
他在这个开车的时候还在哼一首
He was
歌，
humming and he was, I recognized the tune. I think it was a classical music, some Mozart or something. He was humming.
是这个古典音
But you
乐。
know what? As he hums, he changed his tune.
但是后来呢，他
Then I recognized the second tune he was humming. And he wasn't humming from the beginning of the song, but he's humming somewhere from the middle of the song. And at first I thought, oh, what song is this? So familiar. And then I started recognizing the tune.
让我认出他唱的第二首歌。
And then he started humming. And straight away my heart jumped. I said, Rock of Ages. He was humming Rock of Ages, the hymn.
就是那些不容易的日子，他在唱那首
He
歌。
was humming the hymn, the Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages, clap for me. And I tell you,
万古磐石。
万古磐石。
he was humming that song.
他就在唱那首歌《万古磐石》那首歌。
And my tears, I just felt like, Lord, you gave me such a close experience with you.
那我就觉得神给我一个很亲密的经历，
That you let me understand that you are my Rock of Ages.
让我明白你是我的磐石。
And that was such a beautiful experience I had with the Lord through my car breaking down in the middle of the road.
这就是我和主一个很美的经历，
And it was so encouraging to me.
而且对我也是很鼓励。
He sent this beloved angel from BCAA who was a truck driver, who was like an angel, and the Lord speaking through him to me every step of the way that was so real, and every word that he gave me was a direct encounter with him.
那他借着这样的一个卡车司机，就给我这样的一个经历，跟神
So I
这
just
样的一
wanted
个
to share
面对面。
with you this to encourage all of us that through the wilderness something can come out beautiful.
所以鼓励大家透过旷野之旅是有美丽的事情发生。
Although it may be difficult, it may be uncomfortable, it may challenge you from top to toe, but it will be beautiful.
尽管可能不容易，可能很挑战，但是它的结局是美的。
If you come out of the desert leaning on your beloved,
如果你是靠着你的良人从旷野出来的
and
话，
if you're still leaning on him,
如果你一直是依靠着你的良
you
人，
really have nothing to fear in the
你
wilderness
在旷野中是没有可怕的，
because his grace is enough
因为他的恩典够你用，
and his strength, his perfect strength can only be manifested through your weakness.
他的能力就是要在你的软弱上来彰显。
He's a beautiful, wonderful, magnificent God.
他是我们那荣美大能的神。
Let's pray.
我们一起祷告。
Lord, I thank you
主要谢谢你，
that you are truly our beloved.
你就是我们的良人，
We really have to lean on you
我们就是要来靠着你，
through thick or thin, through difficulty and good times.
无论是顺境还是逆境，
We must really, really understand that you are a man of sorrow, acquainted with grief.
我们都是要来明白，你是为那些忧伤、心中悲哀的神。
And you came here as an example for us.
你来到这里为我们树立了榜样，
You have walked through the wilderness as an example for us.
你自己就经历旷野，给我们做了这样的典范。
And I thank you, Lord, that although you want us to really sit with you, a lot of time you want us to sit with you. Yes, you want us to sit with you under the apple tree.
主要尽管多数的时候，你愿意我们与你同坐在苹果树下，
You want to refresh us with the sweetness of your fruit.
你想要用你的果实来增我们的力量。
Yes, you want to refresh us with raisins.
用葡萄干增补我力，
That is your heart for us too.
这就是你对我们的心意。
But Lord, many times you have also said you want us to come away with you.
但是很多时候你也要我们起来与你同去，
You want us to partner with you through the rough terrains.
穿山越岭与你同工。
You want us to bounce with you through the mountains and the valleys.
无论是高山和低谷，都与你一起。
Because you want to train us.
你想要来训练我们，
You want to train us to the point of we have strength under control.
你想要训练到我们这样一个地
To be
步，
just like
我们
you.
能够控制我们的力量，像你一样
To be meek and lowly just like you.
柔和谦卑。
You want us to learn of you.
你想让我们学你的样式，
You want us to look at you as the example, to keep our eyes focused on you, Lord Jesus.
来仰望你，来专注你，做我们的榜样。
And you want to tell us that it is enough. Your grace is always enough.
你想要告诉我们，你的恩典是足够的，
As long as we are willing to lean upon you,
只要我们愿意依靠你，
you will always strengthen us and you will give us the perfect strength of yours in our weakness.
你总会在我们的软弱上使你的能力显得完全。
Teach us not to complain in our weakness.
求你教导我们不要抱怨我们的软
Although
弱。
yes, we are human, we don't like to be weak.
是的，我们作为人也不想是软弱的，
We don't like to go through the difficulties.
也不想要经历困难。
But teach us to recognize that that's the only place that you can mature us.
但是帮助我们认出困境是能够使我们成熟起来。
Teach us to understand that that's the only place that you can bring us forth through victory.
教导我们就是在旷野里能够使我们从旷野得胜出来，
So that we are not afraid of going through this wilderness and this desert with you.
所以我们就不怕经历旷野，
Because you are the streams in the desert.
因为在旷野中你是我们的力量，
Yes, you are that oasis in the desert for us.
你就是在旷野中为我们加力量的那一位。
Lord, we pray that you will give us that faith to believe in you.
给我们信心，让我们来相信你。
Thank you, Lord Jesus,
谢谢主耶稣，
for being with us today.
谢谢你今天与我们同在。
In your most precious and beautiful name,
我
we
们宝贵
pray.
的圣名，
Amen.